Hello everybody, I'm Rachel from Douentza Garden in Ireland, and you're very welcome to this end of March, beginning of April garden tour. Now spring has finally come here in Ireland, and I can see that because every day when I go out into the garden, little flowers, new little flowers are popping up. Whether it's primroses, whether it's early erythroniums, whether it's the buds on the trees breaking with the first of the magnolia flowers. A very exciting time of year for us gardeners. So today I'm going to take you around my garden. Work is still in progress, so I'm still involved in cutting back perennials, in weeding and just generally preparing for the summer. But there is plenty of beauty to show you, which is what we're going to focus on today. So come on, let's go. Hello and welcome to the video, and I guess you will judge by the fact that I'm sitting on the grass that it's been quite a dry spring, and I just have to share with you the little delights I have poking up here. And I suppose the first thing to get stuck into is the hyacinths, and these are all hyacinths that I grew in vases originally. Probably those glass little vases where the roots are showing to delight the kids. And then when they were finished, I put them out here in the garden, and they continued to delight year on year. Perhaps not as full in terms of bloom as they were the first time round, but certainly really gorgeous. And then a little bit further over we have the erythroniums, and this is a fantastic early small growing erythronium, Douentza one, reflecting the fact that the common name for this plant is the dog-toothed violet. And this is such a little cutie, which I divided last year or the year before, and now I have lots, so that's just wonderful. For any of you who are new to the channel, you should know that I garden in Southern Ireland in what roughly equates to as hardiness zone 9. My garden is roughly an acre in size and is in a rural setting. The first cherry blossom in flower in the garden is this little miniature, which I've planted here in the shade of, well, a couple of trees. And it has a smattering of flowers, not a bad showing. Now this cherry tree is underplanted with the black grass that seems to tolerate shade well. We have little primroses popping up here and there as well. I must say, spring seems to be coming slower than usual this year. Just now we have the first of the daffodils coming into flower, and these double ones I have over here are the first ones to open. The thing about a slow start to spring is that when everything then comes, it comes all together. But it is lovely to see the buds breaking on Macrantha the Bride, and also on the beautiful Magnolia stellata over here, always the first one to bloom. Over here we have perhaps my favourite primrose, and that's saying something because I do love my primroses. But this one is called Douentza, and I just love the double cream flowers. Unfortunately, they've been a bit splashed from a watering that this bed got yesterday in order to water in the fertilizer, the seaweed fertilizer that's just been sprinkled over the top. And as you can see, lots of work has been done on the garden so far, weeding, cutting down perennials, and then sprinkling seaweed fertilizer on the beds. And I have finished the pruning. Yay! I always find it so encouraging when I finally finish the pruning. And I've adopted a different system this year, which I think I'm going to share with you in a video later on. I've made a complete list of everything that needs to be pruned in my garden, and I have worked through it methodically, because I don't know about you, but what I sometimes find is that I'm running from here and there, and you know, there is a hydrangea bush at the back of a border somewhere that I don't think of until I get down to weeding that bed, and then, oh yes, I didn't do that. Whereas this year I'm methodically going through everything that needs to be pruned and pruning it before I start on the beds. Well, in nearly every case. Now, while we're in this neighbourhood, I just thought I'd share a few things with you. Primroses over there, which I've had for many years and divided. I have no name for that one, but it is so, so pretty. And I do feel that yellow is the colour of spring. It just brings such joy. And I do have tulips coming into bloom as well. So we've got some white ones on the border behind, the Fosteriana, just beginning to open in the last few days, which is always so exciting. And then I just wanted to show you briefly my crocus bed here. The crocuses, of course, which you'll have seen in recent videos, were amazing when they were in bloom, but they've finished now. And now the area needs to be left with the leaves intact until they wither away completely. And you can see that we're mowing a path around the border and just leaving that section of long grass for a little while. And at the back of the border here, we can see those giant alliums I planted last autumn poking up, a bit more than poking up now at this stage. And this is my hardy orchid bed full of Cypripedium. Now, I did notice a dog had been digging in here this year, so that's why I've covered it with a bit of a grate. Hopefully they're still okay. I'm not sure if I've ever shown you this plant before, but this is Pachyphragma, and the great thing about it is that it flowers really early, usually in February, so you know, we really are late this year. But it's a very strong plant and you never need to worry about tending to it. In fact, what you will need to do is to pull it out of surrounding plants that are more precious. But see how tenacious it is. It's jumped up onto the tree here and is growing in just a little bit of leaf litter in the axils of the branches. A great plant to have early on in the year, but do cut it back to the ground after flowering because it will seed around. It's a great plant for shady areas where you need to do less maintenance, and that's certainly the case over here because I do have a climbing rose going up this tree, very prickly, and a farmer's hedgerow just behind. And now we continue down this path where I have a lot of pretty primroses in flower. Again, Dawn Ansel, and this time not splattered by mud. She's interspersed with dark rosaline, and I think the two together, the light and the dark, make a fantastic combination.
Let's go.
And then just above your head we have Magnolia Star Wars breaking into beautiful, beautiful flower. And in this bed we have orange tulips in flower. These are Fosteriana, which are a great one for coming back. And the orange is from the Emperor series, which is a particularly good tulip series. And look behind, the camellia is just breaking into flower. Red flowers. Remember these primroses over here? These are the ones I grew from seed, and I bought a packet of seed from Barnhaven, which was basically sweepings from the seed room floor, things that had fallen down from other marked packets, and this is the mix I got. So cheery. You'll notice how I haven't yet cut back my salvias, my subshrub salvias, and I will do that at the beginning of April. I will make a separate video about that because I think it's something that people have asked a lot of questions about, so I'm happy to share. And underneath the pear tree we have a lot of Acacia. Now this is a variegated form called Thor, just coming to the end of its flowering now. You can see that the leaves are beginning to predominate in each clump, but it's such a little sweetie and brilliant for flowering all through March. There's plenty of anemone blanda in the border as well. It just pops up everywhere. I just have to be really careful not to weed it out. So past the euphorbia, and we leave that section of the garden and come to the hellebores, which are still going so strong. And it pays to remove those leaves earlier on in the season, and then you can appreciate this fantastic show. We also have Kinnicloa rubra, the New Zealand tussock grass, looking fab. We also have the very vigorous primrose, Avondale, an Irish hybrid, here on the left, doing really well and in full flower already. And then moving further down the garden, you can see how my sambucus is resprouting after its early pruning. And if you want to know more about sambucus pruning, well, guess what? I've made videos about that too, which I'll link to at the end and in the video description down below. It's always so encouraging seeing those new shoots coming out, because when you prune first you think, oh my goodness, have I killed it? But no, you haven't. And down at the very end we have my Edgeworthia, and it looks magnificent, you have to admit, absolutely fantastic, and flowering so early in the season, which is what Edgeworthia does. Now, you may recall my video from a few years back when I sought out this orange variety, an unusual variety of Edgeworthia, which is usually yellow, because obviously, you know, we want unusual things in our garden. And I bought it and I planted it. But I have one question for you. Why do people buy Edgeworthia? And the answer is simply that it has the most amazing spring fragrance. Well, the bad news is that the orange one, called Red Dragon, has no fragrance at all. So bear that in mind if you're thinking of buying it. How disappointing. Well, I guess on that note, I'm going to wrap up the video, which I hope you enjoyed. Just a little reminder that April is a great time to prune your subshrub salvias, which I'll deal with in another video. Penstemons, of course, if you have a climate zone similar to mine, you can cut them back now. And Diacia personata, if you grow that. Thank you as always for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.